All right, we got a question. If T. Williams doesn't re-sign, does Brunskill get a shot at left tackle? Now, I think it's pretty clear. What Richard Sherman basically said is T. Williams is their number one. T. Williams and Warner are 1A, 1B for priorities. So he's coming back.
Yeah.
And he's getting 20 plus million.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how that's going. But the question for me is, let's stick with this. Brunskill actually did play pretty well at tackle last year. He's been pretty good at guard at times. He's been pretty good at center. He's a decent player. I can't say the same for the Niners right guard and right tackle right now. I don't know what's going on with those two.
So I actually have a big problem with what they're doing with Brunskill. What they're doing with Brunskill to me feels like early
what they did with
Ward.
Oh, I took the words out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agree.
It's Brunskill. First, let's put this into place. Brunskill, Jimmy Ward, not the same caliber of player at all. Jimmy Ward, way better player. But what is how they're being used, right? Oh, Jimmy, we have kind of a better safety tandem this year. Why don't you go play corner? And I know you're our best corner in 2018, Jimmy, but Adrian Colbert really sucks. Jimmy, come back and play safety for us. That's why Jimmy Ward, when he signed here, right, he said, I'm going to play safety, and you're going to only use me as a safety, right? That was his thing for signing. So that's what it feels like with Brunskill, right? I thought he settled into right guard pretty nicely. You know, Hronis Grasu didn't have a great Seattle game, but for them to move that quickly with him, Hronis Grasu, who I thought played fine versus New England, played fine versus Arizona week 1 and stuff, I thought was a little weird for them to move Brunskill inside. I think they need to find him a spot in a home. He's one of their 5 best offensive linemen, but he can't be one of their 5 best offensive linemen if he plays tackle, guard, and center all in one season.
Yeah, agreed.
Guard or center. So I think center is a big need. Like even Brunskill, if he plays better, to me, is not a long-term center. Weston Richburg, I think, might be done. I think he's done. And so I think that's one of the more underrated needs. If you can have Brunskill at right guard, maybe McKivitz develops into a backup. They're going to pick up McGlinchey's 5th-year option probably because they have nobody else. And I think if you can get that and an improvement at center, you'll have something. I
agree, but let's be honest here. They're not moving him back to guard. They already moved him out of guard. I think what they're thinking is he's going to be their long-term center, and I don't know if that's the right place for him. But I guarantee you that's what they're looking. That's what they're thinking.
Oh no!
Otherwise, he wouldn't be playing there.
The way I see it is that they're going to be in the market for interior offensive line. If they get a center, then Brunskill's a guard. If they get a guard, then Brunskill's a center.
True. Well, at least what I see from Brunskill is when you put him at guard, he'll improve after a few games. You put him at center, he'll improve after a few games. Haven't seen that from McKivitz.
No.
Maybe he's just a rookie who needs a little time in a weight room, but haven't seen it from him. And the thing, let's stick with McGlinchey, because as bad as Tavarius Moore has been, McGlinchey's right there. I mean, McGlinchey's in the running for worst starter on the team. And you could say that, hey, maybe he'll bounce back next year, and maybe he will, but maybe he won't. So you got to have a plan B there. And plan B has to be a guy who can start, not just a backup. So what do they do? What is the contingency plan at right tackle, Vish? How do you handle this?
They'll have one. This is not the season they're going to have one. They're going to try and go one more year with Mike McGlinchey. We'll see how it works out. The thing for me with McGlinchey is that I feel like this is the first year there's been a little pressure on him, and I think people are starting to get on him, and I think it's starting to get to him. You know, he is right. He was right when he said, well, people are picking out 1 or 2 individual plays. Overall in the game, I play fine. Yeah, you do play okay overall, but those 1 or 2 plays are so egregious for a first-round pick right tackle, a top 10 pick right tackle.
Tavarius Moore plays fine for most of the game. It's just those 3 plays where he gives up 14 points and a 50-yard catch. Yeah.
It's egregious. It is egregious. Like, Andrew Thomas, ever since Mark Colombo was fired, hasn't given up a pressure, okay? He hasn't given up a pressure. You won't find the other top 10 picks. Jedrick Wills, you will never find a rep where Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is trucking him to the ground. You won't find it for Tristan Wirfs. You won't find it for Becton. It's a real problem. He's a really good run blocker as a move run blocker, right?
Yes.
Like, people think his PFF grade as a run blocker is high, but what the Niners do to help him as a run blocker is they don't.
He's not a drive blocker.
Oh, you got position blocker. Just push Danielle Hunter off the ball.
No, he's not. That's not him.
We'll get someone else to come and hit Danielle Hunter from a good angle.
And George Kittle.
Right.
Or exactly. Yeah.
Use check or somebody like that. So they do those types of things, and he's he's not, I think there's just way too much. I think it's starting to get to him. He just looks like a player. I mean, you posted the clip of him turning and yelling at Colton McKivitz. I think the pressure is getting to him.
Yeah.
Not having Joe Staley's getting to him. I think he talks like that. Like, if you've noticed, they haven't let him talk to the media, which I think is a great decision because he talks way too much. He needs to stop talking. It's really bothersome how much he talks. Like,
he hasn't earned the right to be the voice of the team. You got to earn that. He needs to focus on his play before he starts focusing on the message for the big picture. It's just let Trent Williams talk, dude.
I don't even want the leader of my team giving message for the big picture because he doesn't give message. He comes there and he goes, "Oh, well, the thing about us, you see, is we have more injuries than anybody else." Like, that's
dude, not the coach
job to say that. That's Grant Cohn's job to write. Well, the Niners, the thing is, even though they're 8-8, they have so many injuries, and this was actually a good season. Your job is just to do your job to the best of your ability, and that's go play football and come answer the questions, be a good teammate, all those things, right? All those things.
Fred Warner doesn't go to his press conference and be like, "Well, look, you got to understand. You know, it's been really hard." What's that?
We don't have Ford. We don't have Bosa.
Yeah, he doesn't say that.
He says he's very smart. He's nice. He's gives the media their time, and he says, "Well, you know, we've got to play better. What we're doing is not acceptable." Yeah, this guy's playing well. It's just very calm, very composed. Like, he's in control. McGlinchey, to me, feels like a guy that's desperate, a guy that maybe hasn't gotten criticism before in his life, being Matt Ryan's cousin and going to Notre Dame, where they've produced how many offensive linemen over the last few years and all of that. There's just never been that kind of pressure on him. And it came this year. He became a captain and all of that. And people are really starting to figure out that, you know, for a top 10 right tackle, he's not worth it.
Well, I mean, I've never heard of the concept of a top 10 right tackle. I guess that, you know, Lane Johnson. Happened. I know it happens, but honestly, you better be one hell of Lane Johnson was a freak athlete, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Mike McGlinchey was never a freak athlete. He was supposed to be just a really polished, excellent player who could, I mean, come on, dude. I don't know.
Run blocking, right? That was They liked him as a run fit, and they thought he could improve in pass protection. It's starting to get to the point where is improvement possible, or is this?
Why did they think he could improve in pass protection is my question. I mean, what I look for, like the upside, the reason I thought Colton McKivitz could improve, Colton Miller could improve is because of his feet. He had quick feet. He just needed to get stronger. McGlinchey wasn't going to improve his feet quickness. He was always kind of choppy and mechanical.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got people.
He's exacerbated the problem for himself by talking.
Yes.
If he doesn't,
I'm not as bad as people say I am.
Right.
Okay.
You don't still here. If you don't come out and say, "Well, we've had so many injuries," well, no, our line is playing well, all these things, and you just leave it. After a while, like, look at Jimmy Ward, right? Like, Jimmy Ward did have the one good game, but Jimmy Ward isn't coming out every week or saying that people are slandering him. I mean, he went through a 2-week period where every game, every defensive play, Grant Cohn was just watching Jimmy Ward and tweeting that Jimmy Ward, oh, great attempt to make the tackle, all of that. He went through that.
He did. And you know what? I respect him because it fueled him. He didn't whine about it. I can be a test. I've realized I can be tough on athletes. I mean, Dante Pettis didn't like it. Eric Armstead hates it. McGlinchey clearly doesn't like it. Jimmy Ward used it the way athletes are supposed to use criticism. It brought the best out of him. And it made me say, you know what, Jimmy, I respect you. I'm never going to talk that way about you again. You have the type of inner strength that I don't even think I have. So not that I'm that strong of a person, but I respect Jimmy Ward. I don't just respect his play. I respect his strength and determination and self-belief and all that stuff that I don't really think Mike McGlinchey has, you know, or has demonstrated yet.
Yeah. And
you can't let me in your head like that. Come on.
Yeah. To me, that's what it comes down to, right? Because the draw to Mike McGlinchey for the 49ers was, oh, he's this great human being. He carries himself, all of this, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't feel genuine to me. It doesn't. It feels a little like he forces it out of himself.
Yeah, hey guys, how you doing? Just got back from listening to Bruce Springsteen and the Beatles and a bunch of stuff that was made in the 1970s. Like, dude, no, stop. I know you're very impressive with adults, but you just seem so fake.